Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is Wednesday, July 6th. In this video, we are looking at the Draftkings and Fanduel picks. I'll have a separate PrizePicks video out after this one, but let's go ahead and get into it. We got an 8-game main slate today. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it if you hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you have not already. Yesterday, good day with the picks, except pretty ugly pitching slate. Most of the pitchers kind of struggled. All the popular ones did. But great day for the bats. We had Mullins as the thumbnail. He put up almost 30 fantasy points. Derek Hall had almost 20 fantasy points at sub $3,000 at $2,800 on Draftkings. I had Schwarber in the lineups on the website. He had 2 more home runs. And Mookie Betts at $4,400 hit a bomb, and he continues to be very cheap today. So let's keep it going. If you want to join us, you can visit the website. Link is in the description. Check out Twitter for updates, and just to stay more connected, it's at the DFS process. Looking at today, looking at the MLB lineups page, still not fully loaded over on Fantasy Labs. We'll look at Roto Grinders today. First game up, we have the Nationals against the Phillies. Phillies have 4.53 total. Nola, one of their best pitchers, him and Zach Wheeler have been a great 1-2 punch in baseball this season. No interest in the Nats bats at all. The Phillies are absolutely rolling right now. The Nats are completely struggling. I think they've lost 6 in a row after getting swept by the Marlins and then losing 11-0 last night. I mean, they just don't have enough firepower to compete with offenses like the Phillies. With Derek Hall, feeling right into the cleanup spot. Lineup looks pretty dangerous even without Bryce Harper. So Schwarber continues to mash. He looks like a good play. Derek Hall at 28. I'm going to go right back to him. JT Realmuto is starting to come around, home runs in back-to-back games. Next game, we have the Orioles against the Rangers. It was going to be a high-scoring game yesterday. Ended up being a 19-run scored in that one. Maybe have some weather concerns here, but if this game does play, I would like Cedric Mullins once again. Continues to hit the ball really well. Got on base 5 times, I believe. 2 walks, 3 hits, couple doubles, extra base hits, and a couple RBIs. And he did get picked off first, and hopefully could have had a stolen base if that did not happen. But Mullins been on a tear, even though he's expensive. I like getting to him. I don't have much interest on the other side here. Really, just like the Orioles side. Just with how good they've been recently. If I did have to pick anybody on the Rangers, it would be some of the power guys like Calhoun with some of the upside that he gives you with home runs. Some of these guys are expensive, Seager and Adolis Garcia, so I'm not looking to pay up for them too much. Next game, we have the Yankees against the Pirates. Yankees coming off of a tough loss last night, 5-2. Quintana was able to shut them down. Also another game with maybe some weather concerns with rain. But overall, Yankees bats look good against Mitch Keller. He's not been good at all this year. Not a great strikeout pitcher. These bats, after being cooled off last night, can come back hot tonight. Red Sox against the Rays here. Looking at some of these, Red Sox bats. Some of the guys that are in the 4K range, like Bogart's only 45. He's just way too cheap for being one of the best shortstops in baseball this season. Verdugo at 4K, also an option. And then Duran with some of the speed option that he gives you batting leadoff. On the opposite side, you got a good price tag on, like Harold Ramirez, $3,000. Wander Franco, now that he's back, looks appealing. And then G-Man Choi could be a first base option for you. And then maybe if you're looking at the bottom of the order, you can consider like Kiermaier. But neither of those 2 teams are on the top of my list today. Like the Braves bats a little bit against Mikolas. He's been good, but the wind might be blowing out a little bit. You got hot weather, 89 degrees, decent humidity. If this game does not get rained out, guys like Matt Olson, one-off play would look appealing at his price tag. But there's some better options than stacking against Mikolas. Like the Astros look great today. Put up 9 runs again last night. Another win for them. Going up against Brad Keller at home. A guy that doesn't have great strikeout stuff. You got Alvarez hitting home runs damn near every night. You got good price tags on Jeremy Pena as your shortstop play. So those would be like 2 really good options. Bregman is only 46. And then even the bottom of the order, you got some cheap guys with Myers and McCormick and Maldonado as a catcher option. Cobb against Merrill Kelly. This could be a great game to get your SP2 from, so you can pay up for some bats. You got pretty low totals on both sides. Giants have a higher total, but I still prefer Merrill Kelly than Alex Cobb as a pitcher, just because Gabe Kapler just takes out his pitcher so early. It's so annoying. If you play any of these Giants starters, except for like Carlos Rodon, can go pretty deep, but otherwise, you're running the risk of them getting pulled at like 60 something or maybe 70 or 80 pitches, whereas Merrill Kelly, if he's pitching well, he's going to get you over 90, get you close to 100. And then one of the best stacks on the board is going to be definitely the Dodgers stack against Jose Urena. They have a 6.34. It's like a course total for them at home. Great price tags on Mookie Betts, once again at 45. Good price tag on like Max Muncy. Had a great game last night. Hopefully he starts to turn it around. And then you got like cheap guys with Jake Lamb, if you want to consider him at 23. Freeman, still very powerful, good first base option for you. Let's go back over to Draftkings. So, pitching-wise today, looking at Aaron Nola for sure as my favorite pitcher. He's just been great for the Phillies this year with the strikeouts, 117. He's been a workhorse in terms of just going deep into games 7, 7, 8, 7, 8. So he's gone at least 7 innings in his last 5 starts and gets you most often 100-plus pitches. He got 110 last time out. Good strikeout stuff, even though the Nats don't strike out too much, but he did have an 8-inning, 8K game against him, and he's faced him a bunch over the years. And the second pitcher that I'm going with is going to be a value pitcher, and then, like I mentioned, Alex Cobb runs the risk of getting pulled early, like last time out. Pitching very well against the White Sox, and then he got pulled at 67 pitches after going 5 innings of no run ball. And then game before that, he got pulled at 80 pitches. Game before that, he got pulled at 60 pitches. So, it's always a risk with Gabe Kapler. You did the same thing when he was a Phillies coach. So instead, I'm going with Merrill Kelly, a guy that also, similar price range, but he can go probably 30 or 40 more pitches than Alex Cobb on the other side, 7, 6, 7. Most often he's going to try to get you 6 innings at least, can go over 100 pitches. He's more of a ground ball pitcher with double-digit ground balls in 3 straight games. And even though the Giants have a lot of lefties, he's fine at striking out lefties as well, and has been a okay strikeout pitcher, nothing crazy with not only 74 Ks and 91 innings. But for the price tag for the ERA, doesn't get blown up too much, except for that one time against the Dodgers that really just spiked up his ERA. Otherwise, it'd probably be like in the low 3s. Go with him as a SP2 option. If you wanted to pay up at pitcher, I'm looking at Javier or looking at Severino if there's no rain concerns in that Yankees game by the time the slate locks, and then value. Besides Merrill Kelly, maybe you can consider going with like a, there's not even too much that I'm looking at the bottom here, like maybe Corey Kluber, or maybe Mikolas, but I probably just prefer Merrill Kelly to go up a little bit. So going back over to first base, going right back to Derek Hall. He's been great for the Phillies, stepping up really nicely since they called him up. Like I mentioned yesterday, all 3 of his first hits were home runs. That never happens. And then last night he had a great game. 3 more hits for him with a double. Just fitting right into the Phillies offense. They lost a powerful lefty bat in Bryce Harper for a couple months, and they got a great one in Derek Hall from the minors. So at 28, until his price tag comes up, he's going to be a great value piece. Going over, I'm going to put in the outfielder that I like, and that's going to be Mookie Betts again. Dodgers have the highest total on the slate. Mookie Betts only $4,500. I don't know what it's going to take for them to raise his price tag, but as long as he keeps being this cheap, I'm going to continue to play him at that price tag. Just ridiculous for having a 6.4 total and being the leadoff hitter for the team. Moving on to second base, your top end guy would be like Jose Altuve. He's very expensive at 56, so I don't mind if you wanted to go down to like a Max Muncy here at 42. Hopefully he can start to become a more consistent hitter. He's been having a very poor season with the batting average, but had 2 hits last night and a stolen base as well with a home run. Then he had a home run earlier this month. So hopefully he starts to get his power back, and at this price tag, I definitely consider him. And then over at shortstop, last guy is going to be Jeremy Pena. I like the Astros offense a lot today, and Pena has been great for them. He's one of the leaders in WAR at the shortstop position, just with his defensive ability. Gives you some speed with stolen bases, gives you some power with 12 home runs, and should fit in nicely today in any part of a Houston stack or even as a one-off play. He's been better at home, 291 average with 8 of his 12 home runs coming at home in Houston. Third base, be looking at similar stacking options. Phillies, Dodgers, Astros be my favorites. Yankees, Orioles, if those games play without any sort of concern. You have a good price tag on like Alec Boehm here. If Carpenter's in the lineup, he's been unbelievably good for the Yankees since he's been over there. Justin Turner's at a decent price tag. And then over in the outfield, Betts would be one of my favorites just because he's so cheap at 45, but I definitely look to go right back to Kyle Schwarber, batting leadoff, just having an unreal last couple of weeks, just hitting home runs almost every other day. Castellanos, a couple more hits for him last night. He's starting to come around, still having a disappointing season so far, but still have half the season to go. So that's about it for DraftKings. Similar story on Fanduel, but I'll go ahead and put in the pieces so you guys can see it. So on Fanduel, the only real difference that I had from the core play was going with Jordan Alvarez instead of Betts. Still like Betts, but Alvarez just 300 more. He continues to hit so many home runs, and I'd love him to hit another home run today. Love the Astros offense, so I'll probably try to get to both guys if I can. But Alvarez, my favorite outfielder. Pena looks great at 32. Kyle Schwarber's in the mix as well in the outfielder. Muncy's super cheap at only $2,700. I mean, compared to some of these other top guys. And then Derek Hall, first base catcher option at 29, looks great. Other picks would be maybe going to Rhys Hoskins if you wanted to pay up for the Phillies side. JT looking better recently. Home runs back-to-back games at $3,400. And at the pitcher option, I mean, Nola's my favorite guy today by far. No real weather concerns in that game unless things change. And then other guys could be looking at Javier at 97. But ultimately today, like the Phillies offense, once again, the Dodgers, the Astros are my top guys to stack, top teams to stack. And then if the weather looks good in Yankees, Orioles will be some other one-offs you can consider. But that's it for the DFS side. Let's go ahead and look at PrizePicks. So I said I was going to have a separate video for PrizePicks, so might as well just throw it at the end of this one. Strikeout props, don't have much interest in some of these with them kind of pricing them up. Maybe Michael Pineda at only 2.5Ks looks fine. Taking the over there. I like Shane Bieber over, but I like his fantasy. And some of these props have now been bumped up a little bit that the fantasy looks a little bit more appealing to me. Burns having 8Ks, 8 at the number, so you need 9, which is definitely doable. Barrios been disappointing recently, but I would lean over there. Otani's up to 7 now, so we need 8. Definitely doable against a team that will K against in the Marlins. And then 1 over, I like is Severino. 6.5. Nola, I would take the over, but I like his fantasy more. Mikolas would take the over with how often the Braves strike out at 4.5. Javier's already up to 7, and then Merrill Kelly probably take the over there, but it's bumped up as well. In terms of the pitcher scores where I'm getting most of my guys, I like Lance Lynn. Just been very consistent in terms of going deep into games in his 4 starts this year. He's always been known to be like a workhorse and had 104 pitches, 109, 99. His last 3 goes probably 6 innings or more. And most, if not all of his starts going forward, unless he gets hit around a little bit. And the Twins do have some K hitters in the team. He's at home. It was great for them last year. It gives you some good strikeout upside as well. I think at numbers very low. Probably a good chance that he does get that quality start bonus because he continues to go deep into games. Corbin Burns, 43.5 against the Cubs. Cubs strike out a lot. Burns had some great games against the Cubs over the years. So just looking at this Cubs lineup, you see a lot of guys over 20%. You have 4 guys over 30%, which is very rare. 34% K rate for Suzuki now that he's back. 35 for Wisdom, 33 for Bodie, and 32 for Morel, Christopher Morel, who's been great for them this year, but he does K a lot. Overall, 25.5% K rate. Strikes out both sides of the plate really well. Lefties 34, 33.5%. Righties 31%. So like Burns last time out against the Cubs, gave up a couple runs, but he had 10 Ks against them. Another over fantasy could be like some weather concerns in the Yankees game, so maybe if there's a delay in the middle of it, that would hurt Severino. So until we get some more clarity, taking kind of a passive stance on that one. But Nola and Lance Lynn are 2 of my favorite over fantasy props. And then I got Burns as well. And then a couple over hitter props. Another one could be Merrill Kelly just because it's been pretty good for them this year and is pretty consistent with his pitch counts. Not real risky of getting pulled early like the opposing pitcher is in that game. And then going with the over fantasy scores, in terms of the hitters, like Schwarber, yesterday he was at 7.5 and 8.5. I mean, it didn't matter what you took because he had 2 more bombs for him over on PrizePicks. Taking the over 8.5 again today. Bats leadoff. Phillies offense cooking right now. Nats have one of the worst bullpens in baseball this year. Josiah Gray has been decent for them this year as a starting pitcher, but if he's not able to last too long, if he goes like even 6 innings, show plenty of upside in the last 3 innings for the Phillies to do some damage. So taking the over 8.5 fantasy for Kyle Schwarber with how powerful and how good he's been for them this year, especially over the last month. Yordan Alvarez, I like him to hit another home run today. If he does that, no problem hitting the over 8.5. So taking him with just how poor Keller is in getting strikeouts and lefty-righty advantage for Alvarez, who doesn't even K that much and just gives you so much upside. Most of his hits are going for extra bases anyway, and he gives you great RBI opportunities with it being a high total game and with him batting right in the middle of the lineup. So those are my 2 favorites. Another one could be taking the over on Mookie Betts, so he's at 9.5 already. So don't mind him, but I like the other guys that are one run lower than him. But that's it for me today over on PrizePicks, taking the over 42.5 fantasy for Nola, over 8.5 fantasy Alvarez, 43.5 fantasy Corbin Burns, 8.5 fantasy Kyle Schwarber, 27.5 fantasy Lance Lynn. Best of luck today. You can hit the like button if you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.